Hello. Okay, this is going to be one of the ones, again, we're doing the philosophy terms and the things like that. This is going to be one of the ones that I'm just going to flat out read out of the book. Again, we're using this world of ideas. Is it Chris Roman? Almost sort of a Germanic sort of spelling to that. I'm just going to read this straight out of the book because, again, this is going to be something that it does have importance to our world now and informs a lot of things and probably will come up in civics, government, social studies, history, things like that. And very easily could be something that is definitely on a test. But it's also, again, that tie-in to something that is helpful to think about in terms of your life and times and everything that's done now. So this would be affirmative action. So affirmative action, a policy intended to create more educational, employment, and other opportunities for victims of past or present discrimination, especially racial minorities and women. While it has been instituted in several European countries, affirmative action is primarily associated with the social policy in the United States, where the term was first used in a 1965 executive order by President Lyndon Johnson. Lyndon B. or Lyndon Baines Johnson took over after John F. Kennedy was killed, requiring any contractor doing business with the federal government to take, quote, affirmative action, end quote, to implement non-discrimination policies. So the government had to step in to make sure people weren't being not good people to people. That's how not good to people have been being, is we had to actually take these actions for that. Affirmative action programs can be voluntary, statutory, this is mandatory, or judicially imposed, and can range from actively recruiting among the target groups to giving preference to qualified members of these groups. In the 1980s and 90s, there have been demands to open affirmative action to other groups, such as gays and lesbians, military veterans, and those with physical or mental disabilities. So yeah, it got rolled in. This book is from 1999, by the way. I don't remember when I got it. I got it a long time ago. I don't think I didn't have this in. Well, no, I didn't have this in. I got it after I got out of college, but it's still been a while. The concept has been widely controversial. Its advocates insist, so those for it, insist that it seeks to expand access and opportunity, but not to achieve a certain result. So in other words, the idea isn't some sort of now these people of these discriminated groups are going to take over the world or anything like that now, or they're not trying to now make it where we're going to push, these people in these discriminating groups are discriminated against groups aren't saying that now other groups or these other people can't have opportunities too. It's just the way the power structures are. They have been unfairly denied those opportunities or denied even access to that opportunity for so long based on kind of who they are, that it's just trying to be able to level that up. It's like trying to jump in, if you make someone play a game with you and you've been playing the game for, it's a cumulative game sort of thing, like a role-playing game or something like that. You make someone play with you or anything, and they start off at level 1 and you're already starting off at level 20 and have all the spells and resources and all this other stuff, and have it where now you keep them at level 1. You make it so they can't keep moving up. It's going to get frustrating. They're not going to be able to enjoy that. Now make that about life and see how people like that. The opponents charge, so those against affirmative action, charge that the policy creates quotas. So in other words, you have to meet a certain thing. If you have 10 people at your company, then you have to have a quota that it has to be these many people, aren't, maybe the most qualified. They just got the job because of the color of their skin, or they're a woman and they're not qualified for it, which quite frankly, is not the case. A lot of the times people who are qualified, even overqualified for certain opportunities, are denied access to it based even, I've seen it where just because their name looked like a certain type of person, so we just didn't do that. You know, so the opponents charge that it creates quotas and gives unfair advantage to some citizens over others. The supporters counter that it is necessary to remedy the unfair advantage traditionally given to white men. It's true. The critics reply that if it constitutes reverse discrimination, which also would inherently bring up a discussion about discrimination, and in terms of the idea of power structures, because if someone doesn't have power, they don't really have a way to discriminate against somebody. Affirmative action policies and laws have frequently been challenged in American courts, often over the question of their constitutionality under the 14th Amendment's, quote, equal protection, close quote, clause. Does it require, quote, colorblind, genderblind, end quote, behavior in all circumstances? Or does its very genesis imply that past disadvantages may be compensated for? In general, the U.S. Supreme Court has approved affirmative action programs so long as they do not impose strict quotas. Again, the idea of some of those strict quotas then, also being, well, now you're not getting quality or the people qualified for stuff before. Is my pen out? Hope not. I'm running out of pens. But some places do kind of have maybe a certain look to that, whether it's true or not. Not really. But yeah, it's the idea of things had to be enforced by governments in order to stem, if not try and equalize discrimination that's been going on in, if we just talk about the United States, since as soon as Europeans came on to either of the Americas. As soon as that happened, there was a lot of stuff. A lot of not super great things going on with that. So that would be then a quick thing, blurb about affirmative action. Thank you.